The song called Wise Up. It's going out to everybody out there who's going to continue to be ignorant and write fucking stupid shit on the wall instead of saying it to our face. Alright, this one's called Wise Up. Let's do this.
Okay, here we go. This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles live. Once again, what is this? Show 232? Is that what it is? Let me see. Show 234. Who would have thunk it? Yes, raise a glass to Terry Hall. Rest in peace, Terry Hall from the specials. I just read a little something about his demise. Yeah. Yep. Rest in peace, Terry Hall. Rest in peace, Franco Harris. The Immaculate Reception. Franco Harris passed away. You know? Yo, Joe Ackerman, what's happening? Yo, Yo, Ack, how far are you from Sarasota? I'm coming down to screen my film in Sarasota, Ack. How far is that from you, bro? Fucking 10 hours, right? Digging the chops? Yeah. I caved in. You know, my woman and my dad ragging on me about my beard, you know. Shave it, you look old, you know. I don't even recognize you. Like, oh, God. Yeah, so, yeah. Oh, Gaylord Perry, that's right. Gaylord Perry passed away. Yeah. What's happening in Scotland? A wet Scotland. I bet. Isn't Scotland always pretty much Christmas? All right. Northern Ireland. Good. I know. Right? Yo, Sean Dixon, what's up? Yeah, Franco Harris, man. That one, like, Franco Harris, the Steel Curtain. What? The Steel Curtain. Speaking of the Steel Curtain, what's up?
What's up? Greetings from the Steel Curtain of Queens.
What's going on?
Not too much. Yeah, just saw that about Franco Harris. That was that one brought me back to many my younger days. My brother is a huge football guy, so
bro, those Super Bowls, you know, like with it was always the Cowboys versus the Steelers.
Yep.
You know,
actually, Stigma has a big Pittsburgh Steelers tattoo on his neck.
Yeah, I never quite understood that.
I guess he's a
Steelers
fan.
You know who's a big Pittsburgh Steelers fan? Will Shepler. From who played drums in Agnostic Front and who's in the Take now and who was in yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I never asked him about that, but I know he's got a bunch of Steelers stuff at home, Vinny. So I guess that's his team.
Hey, you want to do? How about photo of the day?
Let's do it.
Hey, listen, what can I say, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages? Photo of the day, right there. Come on now, what's up with that?
That is, I mean, there's a lot of people in this picture.
You know, I think I did like my old tour manager count, like scan. I think it's like 150 people. Man.
Yeah, there's a lot of, and there's a lot of people you can't see because that's why like there's a few variations on this. Yeah. Because people were it was like a tide. Everyone was ebbing and flowing, and but it was such a blast that we were able to pull this off very efficiently. By the way,
I like who bookends it. On the left is Sal from Sworn Enemy, and on the right is John from Voice of Doom.
Yep. Yeah, and it was great. And of course we got the Wolf front and center. Right
Larry Kelly's right in the middle.
You know,
I'm next to him with Rochelle to his right.
And I see a Lago. I see Rat Bones.
Yep.
The the only thing missing is if Larry Kelly had his face painted blue like Braveheart, you know.
Yeah, right. And Gina, right? Gina's in the back. I see you, Gina.
Yep. I see Moots and
her fiance,
Chris
Zinnel. Yep.
Yeah, freshly fiancéed and all that. And,
Lice of Doom were great. No, that would be Voice of Doom. Yo, we're Lice of Doom.
Should see a doctor about that.
God damn, man. We're Lice of Doom.
Yeah, this was a blast. This is the Holiday Slamboree crew. And
so another big loss, rest in peace, Martin Duffy, Primal Scream, right?
Yeah, the singer from Primal Scream died. Yeah, crazy. This has been a rough week. You know, and you know what's cool? I actually sent a couple of these pictures to Shepard Fairey, and I'm hoping he responds. You know, because
I should send one to Glenn Friedman.
Nobody's gonna beat this shot. Nobody's gonna beat our group shot.
Yo, you know who this shot goes out to? This shot goes out to everybody that goes on about, hardcore ain't what it used to be, and it ain't what it's not the same. It ain't what it used to be. It'll never be what it was. You know what? Let that fart out.
Yep.
Get the fuck out of here. It's not supposed to be what it used to be. It's not supposed to be the same. Things change.
You know what's something? If the girl right by the Voice of Doom guy, the young black girl up front.
Yo, that girl was going off to fucking Sworn Enemy. Dude, she was wrecking shit.
Yeah, you don't mess with that girl. That girl's tearing it up.
It is. It's stronger than ever, man. People, listen, anybody who goes on about it ain't what it used to be. Yep. You know what that means? It ain't what it used to be equals I don't come around anymore. So I'm holding on to the past.
Right.
So I have my fantasy. Actually, you know what? Your fantasy could be your reality, whatever. But it means I ain't coming around anymore. So therefore I got to shit on it. you know.
Let me tell you, and this was a great day. This was a great day. Obviously, Sworn Enemy, Alan Roberts Band, Spoiler, NYC were great.
Yeah, wait, I got a couple of pictures.
Let's see some pictures. Let's do some pictures.
Okay, let's go with this one first because this is these guys were great, and this was Spoiler NYC. They were great, and thank you, Boxing Hall of Fame shirt. Actually, this Boxing Hall of Fame shirt was a gift from Michael Alago at that show the other day. Very thoughtful,
that's awesome.
Very thoughtful gift from Michael Alago. You know, so here, Spoiler NYC, who were really great.
Oh yeah,
they were great.
Just, I hadn't seen them
dig
since,
their vibe. You know.
You know what? What I like about them, they have that, like that rock and roll, like almost like the Ice Cold Killers do. You know, like that kind of style. For sure. And
the guitar player rips.
Yeah, no, they're really, really solid. And I hadn't seen them in a long time, and it was great to see them. The record's great. You know, just really good band.
You know who was? Yeah, here you go. Hardcore ain't what it used to be. Really? Have you seen this band? Jesus, Mother Mary and Joseph. Mother Mary and Joseph. This fucking band, Concrete Ties. Whew,
yeah.
This girl, forget it.
I love the look on the bass player's face in the background.
Yeah, that dude was going off for Sworn Enemy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, these guys. This was great. I mean, a great. All the bands had a little.
And she's wearing a Ranger jersey. Not mad at her for wearing a Ranger jersey. Yo, you know what? My band is soft, bro. I'm in a soft band, man. My band is another hard band. I'm gonna change the name of my band to soft. This band, Daija.
Oh yeah.
Dude's all screaming in Japanese, like
he's got his tongue out.
Dude could be singing about Godzilla for all I know. He's yelling in Japanese. I don't know. You know?
Man, they just ripped it up, and the crowd was the kids were going off for them.
That's right. We are soft. What's up? We are soft.
Sid, you're the air supply of hardcore.
Back in the day, I'm talking like early 80s, right? With the Bad Brains. You'd say, yo, did you see Minor Threat? And I remember Dr. No would just go, hard. Hard. That's it. One word. Hard. That's it. This band was interesting. Sounded a lot like Danzig. A lot of people, they were really good.
He really did. They were cool.
They were really good.
It was the first time I'd seen them, actually.
Yeah.
The Voice of Doom.
Voice of Doom. Yeah, they were really good. Very, very much like horror, like horror-ish, like Danzig.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
They were good. And then of course, these guys who I'm developing a deep appreciation for, man, which is Sworn Enemy, man. They're fucking great.
Oh yeah. Sal almost kicked me in the head for that one.
They're hard. And then there was this band here, who doing his Frank Sinatra imitation here.
Oh man, that knucklehead.
You guys were good. You guys were good. Your dudes brought A game. They were good.
Let me tell you, and shout out to Gina for the cool picture, by the way.
Yeah.
In a room full of photographers, she came through big. So she's awesome. She's awesome. I got my
Pat Baldwin. People said hardcore was over when I got into it in '92, right? Fuck people, man. It ain't what it used to be. Really?
You know what? It's so much fun, and it was great. Everyone was singing along. It was just it was a blast, and you know what? It was Apparently, we're the kind of music you can dance to, and that's what makes life
And you
worth
can
living.
dance to it.
That's right. That's right. I got it was such a great time. Did we miss anybody? It was Voice of Doom, us,
No, that was
Concrete
everybody.
Ties, Daija. Yeah, that we did. Because we were supposed to have Faded Line, but they did not make the show. So
yeah, Lenny,
but,
yo, man, hardcore direct Minor Threat. Listen, I was there for Minor Threat. I saw Minor Threat and all that.
You know what?
Hardcore.
That's a bucket list band for me that I never got to see.
I saw Minor Threat a bunch of times. I saw Bad Brains a bunch of times, and the Misfits.
Minor Threat and Black Flag with Henry are the two bands. If I could go back, those are the two bands I never got to see.
Yeah, so you know what? This is, people going, oh, those were the good old days. Let me tell you something. These are the good old days. Who cares about the past?
Let me tell you something. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. And you know what? I got a really cool, like a zine from the GBT guys of all the murals he's done for us,
Yeah.
And I missed. In fact, he had that art show, and I'm sad I missed it. But that's right. Lou Collar was in the house.
Yeah, Lou showed up. It was great, and Greg Reason came down. Listen. Enough of all that.
Yes.
We have a guest waiting in the wings.
That's true.
So the salad days are now. Absolutely, man. Bring the hate. That said, I'll let you get back to work.
All right. Absolutely. I'll see everybody in the comments section.
All right. Talk to you in a bit. Well, there you have it. This is the one, the only, often imitated, never duplicated, the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. And we are sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, the Texas Silver Rush, Generation Records, Grunge and Grime Soap Company, DTF and Vinyl Distro, and 126 Hardcore Clothing. It's a streetwear brand for restless individuals who don't compromise. They are positive, spontaneous, and true to yourself. For years, they experimented with several printing methods and materials and collaborated with a large number of designers and illustrators, always giving room for fresh perspectives while retaining the hardcore attitude. Get in touch with them. Ramp up your game at www.126clothing.com. Come on now, the Texas Silver Rush. It's a jewelry design firm and boutique store located in the birthplace of the Texas country music scene in Fredericksburg, Texas. They specialize in working with musicians in all music genres to design and create unique one-off pieces, as well as to style them for stage, album covers, promo photos, and, believe it or not, social media exposure. Their client list includes Rock Roll Hall of Famers Greg Rollet, Ringo Starr, and, of course, my friends and yours, Agnostic Front. Information on online sales is being taken at their Facebook and Instagram pages, and, of course, www.texassilverrush.com. That said, let's clear the deck. What the heck? Let's bring our guest on. Excited about this. Here we go. Everybody okay in the chat room? Listen, bro, you can ask him yourself. We're going to be asking him questions. Just repost it when it's question time, bro. The past was yours, but the future is mine. Welcome to the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. Today's guest is an American vocalist, songwriter, hailing from Katona, New York. He is known for his work with the bands Crippled Youth, One-Sided War, The Mistaken, Running Like Thieves, and of course, Bold. Please welcome, coming at us from Nashua, New Hampshire, Mr. Matthew Warnke. Hey.
Yo, what's up, Drew?
How are you, buddy?
Good, man. How's it going?
How's things up in Nashua?
Good, man. It's a little chilly today with the wind, but it's sun's out, so it's good, man.
How the winters up there?
I gotta say, Drew, this is we moved in April, but my wife and I lived in Burlington from 2018 to 2020. So we're talking.
You lived in Burlington, Vermont?
Burlington, Vermont. So
I lived in Winooski.
Okay, there you go.
I had a life in Winooski, raised a kid, the whole thing.
Nice. Nice. So you know what it's so like the air quality. Like I at the time I was running, so I'd run every day year round, even in the winter. But it was just like really cold. But the air quality, as you know, Drew, it's beautiful up there. So
right.
So my point is, like, I don't think the winter here is going to be as cold, but regardless.
Listen, living in Winooski, I was in Barry, Vermont before that, and then we moved to Winooski. But those winters were cold. You know, they were pretty brutal. That said, let's jump into it a little bit, and I'm looking forward to it. I got a good feeling about today's show.
Definitely.
And I've had quite an enjoyable couple days listening to the Bold catalog and listening to all your stuff. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
One of the joys about doing this show for me is, I get to do my homework and focus up on bands that, weren't exactly, on my radar screen, due to sort of, whatever the reason, and although I always peripherally knew Bold and Geisand and a couple of the songs, but when I do my homework for the show, I really give it a hard listen and really enjoyed it.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. So how did you come up? Did you grow up in a musical household? How did music come into your life?
Well, I'm from a big family, so I'm the youngest of 7. So I would say that played a large role in my exposure to music, Drew. So like I had, older siblings who had great record collections. I had my uncle Eugene who also loved music, and he saw like the Stones at the Garden in '69. He saw the Doors at the Garden. So like when I was 8 or 9 or 10, I remember going to his house and watching like Gimme Shelter, the Rolling Stones, live, mostly live movie. And just basically like growing up, even very young, listening to like the Clancy brothers, coming from sort of a German-Irish family. That definitely was very influential. So between that and, like I said, my siblings' record collection and just growing up like where we did also contributed. So I think those were the main factors.
What music like initially really spoke to you? What do you remember? Like what really spoke to you?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, say like my first love musically was the Stones. I mentioned Gimme Shelter, but I absolutely love the Stones.
Sure.
Watching like Mick, like because they had like footage from the '69, like they're at the Garden. I was just like, the minute that movie started, I was like, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
So like being a young kid, I would like remember just imitating that. So but to answer your question, so like the Stones were sort of like my first love, but then like I would say the Clash, London Calling was kind of, and I know you're a big Clash fan as well. So
I am.
So that record and even Sandinista, I remember my sister had the vinyl and just listened to that like headphones on and really loving it.
Yeah. How did dare I use this word? How did hardcore come into your life? I mean, was there an aha moment, or how did you get exposed to sort of, the local stuff?
Yeah. Kind of like a little bit different elements involved. I would say like going to the school system that I went to. So I grew up in Katona. The high school was John Jay. And
John Jay High School.
Purcell, actually 3 of the original members of Youth of Today went to John Jay. Ray grew up in Danbury, which is right over the border.
Sure.
So my point is like even being in junior high, Drew, like we'd see like Time for Crime, which was Purcell's band before Violent Children Youth. We'd see Violent Children stickers because like those guys would go to Anthrax. And so like it was just kind of like oh, who are these bands? And then like local radio stations listen to it then. Listen to hardcore, on the radio and be like, okay, we like this, making tapes, mixtapes. And then you'd be like, okay, that's this band, that's this, going in the record stores and kind of, like I think most people back then, obviously without the internet, it was a process. So yeah, that's kind of
So
how
did Ray and Purcell, you guys, were they sort of like a I don't want to say influence, because you guys were they a little older than you?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they were a bit older than us, but my sister Kristen was in the same class as Purcell. So like, knew him casually. So she's like, oh, he's in this band. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I like music. And then she talked about, so then we eventually, like, I went to the Anthrax in Stanford for my first show. That was like 84. I was maybe 12 or 13.
Wow.
Yeah. And
you looked it.
I know. Yeah. I was a late bloomer or whatever you want. So like, skinny kid.
Yeah.
And what do you call it? So go to the Anthrax, and then, started, I'm kind of, not to skip all over the place, but like,
it's okay.
Sort of in a garage band, like from the age of like 10, 11, 12. And then as we got into hardcore, we sort of like started to become more hardcore. So before we were Crippled Youth, we were called the Future Presidents, and we did like Van Halen covers, the Stones, the Who, Lola by the Kinks, stuff like that. And but then, like, as we're listening to hardcore, punk, this, Clash, and then the Sex Pistols, and then into hardcore, obviously there was a progression. So 84 went to my first show at the Anthrax. And
do you remember who was playing?
I think 76% certain was one of the bands.
Well, they were in that place, right? They were a Connecticut band, right?
Absolutely. Almost like the house band.
Sure.
So basically, so we played our first show at the Anthrax because, we made like a rehearsal tape on a box, gave it to the owners, Brian and Sean, and they were like, this is great. These, this is young. These raw, whatever. So they had us open for the Descendants as our first show. That was in August of 1985. And that's where we met Ray and Purcell, and the rest kind of, it kind of took off from there.
I'm not sure if this is that show, but this is Crippled Youth at Anthrax,
Yep.
So. Yep. I love this shot here. This is from 1985. Now, when Crippled Youth started, you were playing bass and singing?
Nope. So that's me in the middle. That's Tim Brooks all the way on the right with the red bass.
You were playing guitar.
I was playing guitar. Yeah, that's me playing guitar. It looks like Tim singing. Like, I think that's just because I'd step back for a instrumental part or something. But I was playing
wearing sneakers. It looks like he's wearing flip flops.
He's actually barefoot.
Okay. Yeah, but you guys are young, man. What was the average age? Like 13, 14?
Yeah, when we started, we're talking 13. Like, what we're looking at there, we're probably 13 years old. Tim was the oldest by like 4 months. We all were in the same grade. So
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. And what was the impetus for you to sort of just become just the singer?
Yeah, interesting. Basically, I think it was sort of like by default. I mean, I wrote the lyrics, and not to put it, but like, I don't really know if the other guys could sing, frankly, or like, I was probably the best. Not that I can, but I was the best of the lot. So that was how that went.
Right. There you go. Here's another one. I think this is in rehearsal or something. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's and you guys and down pretty early on and played CBGBs, right?
So as I mentioned, like, our first show was 85, the Anthrax. About 10 months later was our first CB show. So June of 86 with Rest in Pieces, Warzone, and Youth of Today.
Wow. That's a classic, man. And I'm assuming like a situation like that, it was like Youth of Today got you on the bill.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And I know this is a little, maybe around the same time, a little later, but this is a photo that I saw for years, you know, on the internet, but apparently this was a Crippled Youth show, right?
Yep, that's actually Crippled Youth at the Rat in Boston,
right?
With Youth Brigade and Youth of Today.
And you know, looking at some of the characters, you know, I see Craig Satari on the right, Tommy Carroll in the middle, and John Purcelli on the left.
Yep.
Yeah.
They actually that's the lineup at the time for YOT was Tommy on drums, Craig on bass.
Oh, wow.
So that's why those guys, not that they wouldn't have been there anyway, but we drove up in the van, did the show. So that was that explains that. So
that's a good that's a good one. As I'm kind of going through some of these great shots that I came across of this is June '86 CBGBs. I don't know if this is yeah. Look at that. That's great. Was it fill us in, like coming down like to CBGBs back then? Was it a daunting task, or what did that entail for a bunch of 14-year-old kids?
Yeah, so like usually that first show, I remember we probably were in the city like the Saturday hanging out with the Youth of Today guys, getting psyched. Ray had an apartment on 15th between 8th and 9th, I want to say. So like that was kind of like our headquarters. So I just remember like going down to the Lower East Side the night before with like Mark Ryan and Mark McNeely hanging out. But definitely like being nervous, and, you know, I have to be like one of my biggest concerns, Drew, was like getting in, because I wasn't, you know, we were under 16. So I was like, how the hell am I going to get in? Like, are they going to let? So I was just like, am I even going to be allowed to enter the club to do the show in the first place? But yeah, it was. I can remember like walking.
Did you not get in sometimes?
No, I somehow by what would happen is Karen, I believe her name was Karen, Haley's wife. She would call, and my parents, like I talked about this in the New York Hardcore book. My parents are like very well-meaning, you know, Catholic people, and they lie. They're like, "Oh yeah, he's 16," but like just because they would like trying to encourage me. So that was like one of the few times they would ever do such a thing. So.
You know, I gotta, you know, kind of we're gonna go where it leads us, but I want to. This is a question. You know, we got a big hockey audience here. You know.
Okay.
So this is from Astoria Lou. He asks, whose idea was it to use Maurice Rocket Richard handshake photo for the Crippled Youth 7-inch?
Great question. Basically, Tim Brooks, our bass player, his father was a big sports fan. His father, or his family, I should say, is from New England, maybe Massachusetts, if I'm not mistaken. So he was a big Bruins fan and hockey fan by extension. And he had that picture framed like a whatever 20 by whatever. And, you know, this is just growing up, going and hanging out at Tim's house. I'm like, oh, that's a cool picture. And then, we need a front cover, and it's right there in front of, hey, that's the cover. So that's how that came to be.
That's great. And this, initially the band was you, Tim Brooks, and Drew on drums. And then when you moved to just vocals, that's when Zulu joined, right?
Sort of. I mean, basically Zulu was like part of it from the beginning, but he came from his sort of a strict family, Drew. So like, you know, father's from Colombia, his mother's from Italy, like, you know, first generation in America. His father actually owned a restaurant in Brewster, New York, which was, you know, a little bit north of Katona. Sure. And John would go and work and be, you know, bus tables and so forth. So sometimes he would have to work on the weekend. He couldn't make the shows. So that was sort of a bit of an obstacle, even when he was the full-time guitar player. But so sometimes we were a 3-piece in the beginning, sometimes we'd be a 4-piece, but eventually, like, you know, with hardcore, as you know, it's just you kind of need a front person to hold the, you know, not to be formulaic but it helps, certainly.
Well, you know, it's you're going into battle, and some bands are configured differently than others, but and it helps to have some bands can pull it off. A Story Lou says, I still have my original clear 7-inch copy of Join the Fight.
Nice.
Yeah. And who put that out originally? Was that New Beginning?
Yeah, New Beginning Records. They were based out in California, and they did the Underdog EP as well, and a couple other releases.
Right.
But yeah, it was just kind of like this guy liked the EP. He, I think when Youth of Today went on tour with 7 Seconds in '85, they had like the Crippled Youth demo, and they would play it to people. And this guy Mike, I believe his name was Mike, who wanted to start in the beginning. He liked it and wanted to put it out. So
Ray Hogan asks, which leads to, did you go to the Maloney Brothers hockey camp in Katona?
I know that rings a bell. I bet you it had to be at Harvey Rink, which was very close to where I grew up.
I guess Dan and Don Maloney from
the Rangers. The Maloney, yeah, of course.
Sure. Yeah.
But no, I did
guess
not.
They had a hockey camp up there.
Yep.
Yeah. Let me see my last Crippled Youth at Lupo's, February 23rd, 86.
86, yeah.
See what we got here. Boom. There you go. Yeah.
So that was the lineup we opened, and after us was 76% Uncertain. Murphy's Law played that show.
Of course, it was Lupo's.
Yep, Murphy's Law.
Yep.
And Dag Nasty and Scream. So
wow,
pretty damn good bill.
That's it. Did you guys? It seems that you guys, got out a lot for such a young guys. You traveled into the city. You I guess in a certain way, though, you were kind of centrally located to all that, right? Like the city, Lupo's, Anthrax, right?
Yep, exactly. So it was kind of easy, it was accessible and easy, and playing with, not accessible and easy, but doable basically. And, it helped to kind of have Youth of Today looking out for us and putting us on shows, because then we travel with them and, so yeah, in retrospect, it's pretty interesting. And like, obviously too, it's just like, my mind wanders and I'm like, before like GPS and so forth, just like, how did we get to these places? Like just to coordinate it,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and like, was anyone driving age?
No, that's the thing. So we had to, like, until like 88, we were basically dependent on other people. So,
I mean, that's what an incredible like youth movement, man. I mean, Rand McNally atlases. That's what you had to do. You had to take out the atlas and sort of take a highlight pen and go, okay, we're gonna go 84 to Brewster, and we're gonna connect there for
Yeah. And then we'll call the guy on the promoter on the payphone when we get into the that kind of thing.
And the promoter will inevitably say, got to go across the railroad tracks, and it's in a storefront. Like,
yep.
Yeah. So what is the story? Yeah, hold on. The Story Lou just sent me some. Oh, here he goes. All right, hold on. We'll get. Hold on. Story Lou just sent me a shot. We'll get to that. We're not bold yet. We're getting there. But yeah, those and like every vehicle had that Rand McNally atlas in there. You pull it
yellow
out.
with just tucked in the side. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that was good stuff. Why the sort of rebranding to Bold? What brought that about?
I don't know. I mean, I think a couple things. Basically, this is sort of my standard answer, but it's true. There was just like a lot of bands, Reagan Youth, Sonic Youth, a lot of bands that ended with youth.
Sure.
And frankly, I don't know if it was like, again, not to sound corny, but like maybe, a parent of one of was like, guys, it's really not the most kind name to have, you know, like just so like the sort of harshness of the name. If like you know, it just sounds so. I don't know, that those two things I think sort of caused us to change the name.
It makes sense. Listen, it makes sense. And where did Bold come from?
So we, you know, tossed around different ideas, and we were on Metro North coming back from the city, probably on a Sunday after going to a matinee. Purcell was with us, and actually Purcell was like, "Oh, what do you think of the name Bold?" We're like,
I could just see him I could just see him doing it too.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we were like, yeah, that's pretty cool. So we kind of kicked it around, and then, you know, we that's ultimately how we decided it.
In retrospect, it was a good move, you know. I mean, it really was. It was the same band, right? It was really just a rebranding, right?
Yep.
And so, in the spirit of Bold, here is Astoria Lou in his Bold shirt. Right. There you go. So, nice. Yes. Great Bold, best from Chile. Yes. Nice. Oh, here's a good one. Brendan White says, my wife Catherine went to John Jay with you guys, but had no idea you were in a band. On our first date, she mentioned she was from Katona, and I instinctively responded, K-Town Mosh Crew. Somehow she decided to go on a second date with me.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, yeah. Good. Glad that worked out. Definitely. So you sort of rebrand to Bold, and what at that point was that the comp, or like did you gain some momentum? Like what happened at that point?
Yeah, that would be like 87, Drew. So before, sort of like right before the Revelation comp, sort of, you know, just started playing as Bold, and, you know, people accepted it, and it just sort of, that was actually, now that I'm thinking of it. So the Crippled Youth EP, the second pressing, they put like a stamp like of the Bold logo just because it had already been created. So they just like stamped them just to kind of spread the word. We might have put an ad in the fanzine. So anyway, it naturally evolved, and we just played as much as possible. Started to, you know, continue to write. So we had like Talk Is Cheap in the set, Nail to the X, Always Try, and songs like this. And we were basically, you know, working towards or moving towards recording a full length, which was our objective at the time.
Mm. And when did you record the full? Were you on the way? Were you on the Way It Is comp first, and then the full length?
Yep. Yeah. So the full length, I don't know if, you know, I don't get too far ahead, but not that we are, but like the full length, once it took a while to record number one, and there was like some, we were initially going to go with Wishing Well, which, you know, Uniform Choice guys ran that. They put out the Blast record, the first Youth of Today, but like it was just taking a long time, and Revelation formed at that point around 87. They put out the comp as their first release, or the Warzone EP. Don't recall exactly, but they were like, you know, you guys should come, and, you know, Wishing Well's taking forever, and we could do a better job. And so the record, Speak Out, took too long to come out, in my opinion. But
and it's tough when, you know, actually Civ in the New York hardcore film that I did, talking about sort of when you're young, like a month feels like a summer is a lifetime, you know? And you know, so I totally understand, like, you know, we were probably talking about a couple of months here, but it was unacceptable.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So, but I was looking for the cover, and I came across, you know, the cassette. I thought,
nice.
Cassette, that's cool. The cassette, you know. So were you happy? Where was this recorded? Were you happy with this?
So we recorded it at a place called Electric Reels, Drew, which is in like Pleasant Valley, New York. Maybe where it's Putnam County or Dutchess County. It escapes me at the moment. Yep. We went there because Youth Today recorded Break Down the Walls there prior to us. And Underdog might have done their EP prior to, they would have been before us. So look, Youth Today, Underdog both recorded there. So we're like, oh, we'll go there. And it took it took a long time, and I wasn't thrilled with the finished product. And again, a lot, some hardcore records from that time sound great, some don't. So I think the record's a little guilty of some 80s like compression and some of the production.
Sure.
But the good news is it's been remastered, and actually Revelation is going to be putting it out in about 3-4 months with insert and the whole.
Nice.
So it's going to and I've heard it. It sounds great in my opinion. Just so we're psyched about that.
Did they have the ability to go back to the original master tapes?
I don't believe so.
Right.
But it still sounds, whatever they did, however they did it, it sounds damn,
Well, the technology today, we just did something a while back, and they cleaned it up off like a fucking like CD, and it sounds so much better. I was like, wow. Yep. All right. That's cool. Yep. So that was pretty great. Let's talk a little bit about the sort of the straight edge ethos and how that played into the band.
Yep.
Was that like a conscious how did that really come into your world and on your radar, and was everybody and just give me the background on that.
Totally. So how would I answer that? Basically, like with most people who, or let me just say it, like getting into hardcore, it was at a time in my life and all of our life, we were in junior high and high school, and, it was the 80s. We didn't, fit in, we didn't fit in, like, played sports, but we weren't like great, so it's like at the time, we weren't like the most popular kids, but we felt like somewhat alienated and, outsiders and that kind of thing, and also loved music. And, it just, hardcore spoke to us. Hardcore, was a place where we, felt at home and kindred spirits, and had great, the opportunity to meet great people who I'm, friends with to this day. And this might sound trite. So, basically, even in like high school, drinking and smoking, that was all like around us. Even like, I think it's worse than it is to like in the 80s back then, like it was all around. So
absolutely.
So anyway, so straight edge kind of was like, all right, we don't have to be like the football team and, keg parties on the weekend. So it was just like a way to kind of, when you're young, when you're that age, you want to set yourself apart. You want to create an identity. You want to strive for higher ideals. So that's kind of why straight edge spoke to me. And even like 7 Seconds, The Crew, that record, I was, very much influenced by that, and Minor Threat, so those two, even before meeting like you did today. So just like the, positive messages and self-improvement, thinking about, accepting people or just at the time, those things really, because, maybe even to this day, maybe I'm like too idealistic or too, not naive but like I like to think of things in sort of that kind of a way. And so straight edge kind of like worked for my personality.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you were part of it was a whole kind of youth movement.
I was going to say the social part of it, the being accepted, because that was like, so it was very exciting to be like, all right, we're doing music. There's this philosophy that we're embracing. We're not saying like, shout at the devil, or not that there's anything wrong. I love, metal and hard rock, but like, so some somewhat serious lyrics and like a message, and you feel like, and you see the response from your peers, and it's just took off from there.
It's interesting. I was thinking that when I was that age, that didn't really exist. It wasn't an option. It just didn't exist. So it was interesting. It like basically, like I'd say probably maybe a generation later, it did exist. I mean, when I got into hardcore, Minor Threat was around. They put out that record that had the song on it, but it certainly it didn't what's the word to look for, gestate, or it didn't happen overnight.
Right.
It's like the song, okay, straight edge, interesting, cool, but it was really, it wasn't until almost the next generation, which was the youth of today, bold, so and so, that they sort of embraced that ideology and sort of moved it forward. So it's interesting, when I was that age and getting into it, it didn't really exist.
Right.
Everybody was getting fucked up. Kind of crazy. But that said, here, at what point, this is an interesting picture, I guess. At what point did Tom Capone enter the picture?
So basically, we both went to California the summer of '88. We did 5, 6, 7 shows, that kind of thing. And I had been listening to the Beyond demo like quite a bit. And I remember on the flight back from California talking to Drew, and maybe even have my Walkman. And I don't know if Drew had listened to the Beyond demo much, or I'd be like, listen to this guy play guitar. I mean, this is, tremendous, basically. What do you think about maybe asking them to join the band? Because, and it was really nothing more than, it was just like listening to the demo. I might have had conversations with Tom, seeing Beyond play. So like I had some, connection with him, or a bit of a friendship or what have you. So yeah, I just remember calling him up and him being like, yeah, I'm down to do it. And he came up to Westchester very soon thereafter, and we started rehearsing, and it took off. He basically learned the songs really quickly. And so, yeah.
He's a very talented guitar player.
No doubt. I
actually played with him for a while when we were sort of in between Antidote and what we're doing now. He played a bunch of shows with us. He's a very, very talented guitar player.
Yep.
And here's this isn't the best quality shot, but I think there's an inherent historical value. And this sort of ties in with this question here. Somebody says, how many times did Bold play in the Netherlands? I remember a show they played with the Path of Resistance, which was in the town of Arnhem. Mm-hmm. They must have played that country more. So this is, I know it's a little out of focus here, but that looks like Big Mark from MAD in the back there.
Yep. So that actually is in the U.S. of A, 1989. Those, so Mark and Marta and Stefan is in the front there. Mm-hmm. They were there. I don't know if they were there in the country visiting, but Mark actually stayed at my house. And Uta, they stayed at my house in again 88 or 89, and so so we never went to Europe until 2006.
Okay.
So yep.
Right. So 2000. Okay. So I thought this was a Europe shot. All right. That makes sense. And tying in with sort of your U.S. endeavors would be this, right?
Yeah. That's someone's house.
And I can relate.
Cleveland.
I can relate, having owned a Ford Econoline 250 myself.
Nice.
So that's got to be a 150 or a 250, right? So
I want to say a 150, but no windows on the side, Drew. We call that the van of suffering.
Yeah.
In the summer.
I had one that didn't have. I had one. I guess I had windows. Yeah, of course, you have to have windows in the back, right? Yeah. So I had one. I had an Econoline 250 with windows in the back, you know. But what was this the California thing you were talking about?
This actually, this picture was taken summer tour of '89, California. We just flew out there, and like I believe the guys in a band called Unit Pride, who were a Northern California band. The singer went on to be in the Nerve Agents, but this is from '89, where we started out in like the end of June. Played the East Coast, then we went from Florida to Memphis, then from Memphis to California. The tour was booked by Doug Caron, who's no longer with us, who used to be Pied Piper Productions, who did all the Lupo shows. He booked the tour. And the first half was just us alone, and then Judge joined us from California back to the East Coast. So it was like 2.5 months, but we might have played 15 shows. So there was like quite a lot of time off.
To be young again. Right? Jeez.
I'm telling you.
Just enjoying the country, right?
Yeah. With those Rand McNally maps guiding us, basically.
Okay, I found a shot of, here you go. In the parallel universe, here is my 40 Econoline 250, bro. With the black nice. Flag bars on the back, right? It's the same, only different, bro. You know? This is 1982. Probably on the way to go see Bad Brains or Minor Threats somewhere. You know?
One other tidbit, that van actually was Tom Capone's father's work van, and he was kind enough to let us use it. So that's Tom's dad's van.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Capone, right?
Indeed.
Here's a great shot of Bold at the Anthrax, and Wally up front with the big X on his hand, you know. Right? Look, Walter Schreiber's representing, you know.
Yeah.
Look at him. Hard. So this is the second Anthrax, right? This is the Norwalk, right?
Yep.
You could tell by the wall, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. We just did an Anthrax show fairly recently, but this looks like a very enthusiastic crowd. And then there's one more from that same show. There you go. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And there's Purcell, and seems like, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but kind of like Bold and Youth of Today or Side by Side, a lot of Beyond, a lot of interchangeable parts. Gorilla Biscuits, you know, with guys kind of.
Yeah, there's truth in that.
Yeah,
there's definitely truth in that. You know, Warzone, Side by Side, GB, Youth of Today.
Sure. Yep. Yeah, Ray Hogan says Bold was anonymous with Anthrax, being only 30 miles from New York City. What made it special? What made it special besides Jolt Cola? Yeah. Any memories of the Anthrax that sort of all these years later?
I mean, yeah, no, it was cool because, you know, really good club, no security. You know, the owners were cool. It was just basically like, you know, not sound cliche, but you know, it was the kids. The kids, you know, had a place to see shows. You know, great bands would play there, even going back to the first location. So, not a lot of fights, you know, that I can recall. Just a good vibe, man. Just great. You know, it was awesome.
Jeff Terranova, speaking of the Anthrax, how many shows did I drive you and the guys to? A lot, huh?
You tell me, Jeff. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
But thank you.
Greatly. Hey, let me take a sponsor break.
Yeah.
And we'll come back and we'll get into it some more. We'll talk about the comp and answer some questions, and we'll talk about the reunion. Hey, well, try to get some light in there in front of your face.
Yeah. I was gonna say,
you're in the dark there. Try to get it in front of you. We'll see you in a couple minutes. Okay.
Sounds good, man.
Well, there you have it. This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles live. And our guest today is Mac Warnke from Bold and Crippled Youth and a couple others that we're going to be getting into. And now a word from our sponsors.
Since 1992, Generation Records has been a mainstay of the New York metropolitan area music scene. Today, they offer a diverse selection of new and used rock, jazz, indie, hip-hop, punk, hardcore, metal, blues, soundtrack, and reggae LPs, as well as t-shirts, posters, and other merchandise. They buy used record collections and music memorabilia and will pay you top dollar for them. House calls made for large collections in the tri-state area. Call or email generationrecords@gmail.com and follow them on Facebook and Instagram.
Hey guys, Vlad from Organic Grill. As you can see, we're in a new location on West 3rd Street, right by Blue Note and Comedy Central. The place is bigger, kitchen is bigger, varieties, more food. We are looking forward to treat you guys with great dishes. All hardcore Chronicles, welcome to Organic Grill. We are going to serve all the events as we usually do, and we are happy to see you guys.
Peace, what it do? Welcome to NYHC Comics at 117 Main Street, Dobbs, Surrey, New York. I'm Debo the Pro with my homie
Lee Farley.
Welcome to the spot. Specializing in yesterday's and today's comic books, rare CGCs, toys, collectibles.
Got skateboards, old school tapes, Magic the Gathering, Warhammer.
Video games, original art pieces by your favorite New York City and worldwide artists. Let's go. Skate decks all day, baby.
We also have the young reader section here for like 10 and under. Pops. People love the Pops.
Star Wars! We are New York hardcore. We always rep the scene. Let's get it on.
What's happening? This is the one, the only New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. What is going on? Hey, I want to mention to you, I want to talk to you about upcoming shows. That's right. This Sunday is the holiday episode. We're going to open it up. We're going to bring all kinds of people on. We're going to march a lot of people through the show on Sunday. That is this Sunday, Christmas Day. You know, whether you're busy or whether you're not, you know, come stop by, come say hi. You don't have to be alone. We'll be doing the show. I'll be doing the show. You'll have me and everybody else. We're going to march a lot of people through the show. So that's this Sunday, Christmas Day. First show of 2023, Fury of 5 will be on the show on Sunday, January 1st. Wednesday, January 4th, Old School DC Hardcore Represent, Rob Moss from Artificial Peace and Government Issue. Wednesday, January 11th, Paul Rossier. I know I pronounced this wrong, but I'm going to probably pronounce it wrong again. Rosslier. I'm co-hosting this show with Joel Ghostin. You know, Paul's got a pretty cool career. He was in the Screamers, Twisted Roots, Nina Hagen. John LaFada on January 15th. Brian Harris of Death Before Dishonor on January 22nd. And a blast from the past. Principal songwriter in the early Marauder stuff, Vinny Vitale. So guy that has been out of the mix for a long time. Super excited about having Vinny on the show. This is going to be very, very cool. Also, a couple of events. Tomorrow, I am honored to be a part of the Gates of the West Joe Strummer benefit performance. I will be doing a song with Eugene Hutz from Go-Go Bordello. This is taking place in front of the Joe Strummer mural in front of the old A7. If the weather is crummy, we're going to be doing it inside. I kind of hope we are doing it inside where the old A7 is. For those that may not know, we ID are playing with Go-Go Bordello at the Brooklyn Bowl Thursday, December 29th, including the first show for the Hardcore Highwaymen. Speaking of Walter Schreifels, Jesse Malin, and Eugene Hutz. Next up at the Barry Electric, New York Hardcore Chronicles, back to the New York Hardcore Roots series. Shutdown will be headlining a show February 12th. Speaking of hockey, we just announced this the other day on Sunday, March 5th. Two-Man Advantage is dusting it off and playing the Barry Electric free all-ages Sunday matinee, along with Enziguri, Fuck It, I Quit, Non-Residents, and Iconicide. And, of course, on Sunday, April 30th, first New York show in 12 years, Go will be playing with Crazy Eddie, Down Low, Crippled Earn, and Chum Huffer. So come on down. If it's free, it is for me. That said, yes. Hey, there he is. Sean Refuse. What's up, Sean? Yes, we're looking forward to having you guys play as well. And tell them, you know what? You didn't come down. None of you guys have come down to the show on Sunday. Got to support, bro. This doesn't magically happen. Gotta get your ass and get your guys in your band down the other matinees, man. How this works. It's not a one-sided street, brother. Anyway, I'm busting your chops. That said, right, Lori Dawn?
Right. That's right. How you doing?
That's it. Like, I take notes, man. I know who's coming to the shows. I
know you do. Notes. You notice like, everything.
People come like, hey, man, you got, could you, hey, we like to play. I'm like, have you ever been down to one of the shows? Have you ever been down to one of the 32 shows we've done? Oh, no. Well, been trying to. Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So I've done 32 shows over a couple years, and no one in your band has ever come down to support the series or any of the bands, and yet you want me to put you on a bill.
Support those who support you.
What's up with Gina?
I don't know. Hey, there you go.
Voila.
I'm losing my light here. It's the shortest day of the year. It's the winter solstice.
Is that what it is? Today's the shortest day of the year? Is that right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
Today.
What is it? December 21st.
Yeah, shortest day of the year
today.
Today.
Shortest day of the year. Well, yeah. What time is it? It's getting dark. It's like getting dark out of 4 o'clock.
I know. I'm losing my glowy light here, so we gotta get moving.
Drew, you shared my picture. I'm so happy. Thank you so much. You shared my picture of Steven. Yes. He's like,
oh. Yeah.
That was awesome. Thank you.
He was so excited. Somebody caught him in action,
I know. I felt bad that I got it to him so late. I didn't send it over till yesterday because he's quick with getting those pictures out, but I wasn't really feeling
it. You know what it is about the pictures is that things happen quick around here.
Yeah.
And unless I have the pictures, the next day I'm on to 6 other things.
Of course.
And it's hard to circle back and go, hey.
We have planned up. Look at all the events lined up and ready to go.
Yeah. So well, how about I want to mention again, I'm doing this Joe Strummer thing tomorrow. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
At the All Day 7,
That's going to be insane.
Yeah, it should be interesting. I'm doing a song with Eugene, like, totally like.
He's going to jump all over the place.
I'm like, whatever.
Live.
I'm whatever. You know what? I'll tell you what my two choices. Guns of Brixton or Brand New Cadillac. That's what I'm looking at,
What are you leaning towards?
I don't care. Whatever. I'll do either of them. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm easy. That said, let's bring our guest, Matt, on. Hey, man.
Hey,
you got some light, bro.
That's right, man.
Let there be light.
Let there be light.
Yeah. So, Lori and Gina, tell us about. Let me find which picture I want to go with. I'll go with this. Let's go with this. Tell us about this band here. Boom.
Okay, well, we are going to Salt Lake City, Utah today with the band Fight the Future, which is a vegan straight edge band. They say they're powered by feminism and a curiosity for the paranormal. So a lot of X-File fans will recognize Fight the Future. I think that was the X-File movie that they named themselves after. And Kelly here is she's just a force. She's a personal trainer, body positive personal trainer. And we really love her vibe. They've got a great punk sound with some nice natural vocals.
Yeah, they say they're like a mix of like Bay Area punk and New York hardcore. So
interesting combination there.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
Too many people claiming that right there.
And they are and they're from Salt Lake City?
Salt Lake City. Yeah.
I found a clip. Let's take a peek at this clip.
Yeah.
A vegan.
It's kind of a crazy clip, but here you go. I will say this. There's a lot of young people in that crowd.
Yeah. It's great, right?
It's awesome. It's all young. It's all young. And it looks like 50% female.
It does. It does. A lot of young kids, a diverse crowd. It's
well, that's another one of Kelly's things too. Kelly, the singer, is that she personally will go out of her way to have more women be in bands, whether it's introducing them to other people in bands or helping them learn an instrument or like whatever. Like that's her mission, is to get more women involved and more representation. But look how much fun they're having. I love that this in the chat room, people have been like going down memory lane and being like, oh, I remember this, I remember that. And I don't think, like, Matt, you realize how much of an influence you've had over so many people over the years. Like people still remember shows in the 80s. People still remember, like the first time they saw your band, and that's still influencing our music today. And there's a lot to be said for that. I think that's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It means a lot. It really does.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like we were talking before, Matt, about sort of that straight edge ethos. And we've mentioned a lot community and culture. Mm-hmm. And inevitably in the end, that's the stuff that reverberates through the years. Music, cool, shows are cool, but it's really what happens in the community that I think is the long-standing influence.
100%. Really well said.
Cool stuff. Here's
so
another.
You can find this band on Bandcamp, on IG. They're going to be doing a live recording soon. And they're also going to be on a little secret project that we're working on.
Yeah.
How long are we keeping this secret for, by the way?
I don't know, but we're going to put a couple more parts together, and then we'll announce.
Okay.
Soon, probably within the next month, we'll have.
Yeah.
So they are on this
secret project
that we are all working on.
They're on the secret project.
So, but how did they come across your radar screen to be on the secret project?
The secret project. So basically, I spend a little bit of the week each week, kind of scanning the interwebs, looking for bands and stuff. And this one, I really liked. I really liked their groove. I love the vocals on this. I love the the pure punk kind of sound to it. So yeah, I just
Yeah, Lori does a lot of the work with that. She scours the internet looking for things, looking for places we might have overlooked. You know, Salt Lake City, Utah is not someplace that I would go look for this, but you know, look what we found. So there you go.
Well, good. I'm glad, and I'm looking forward to when we can announce the secret project.
The secret project.
Yes. Right. All right, cool. What else? You guys going to come on the show on Sunday for the holiday? Pop on for a second?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll come on, say Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, Happy everything else going on.
So cool. All right.
Yeah.
Anybody?
Time frame for that.
What's that?
We'll have to talk about like the time frame for that. Like, is it just people are jumping on whenever, or?
Oh no, I'll figure it out.
Is there a set list?
Yeah, I'll figure it out. one thing at a time. Today's a show. Tomorrow's Joe Strummer. You know, give me a minute.
Right.
All right. I'll talk to you guys later.
Okay.
Thank you, Laurie. See you,
So
Gina. Bye. Very cool. Very cool. Here's a comment from Rat Bones. Even us drug heads loved Bowl. Major band. It was dark enough and gave us hope. I'd say they got me through dark times. That's interesting.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. Rat Bones, John Coletti. Hey, Drew, Matt, John Bomber, Sex Bomb here. I owe Matt an apology. I made fun of his band's new name, and I told him, you know your band is named after a fabric softener. It was said at the time because I was not straight edge and maybe jealous of the rise of their popularity, and I was a jerk. He said, I look back and thank him and say, without the youth crew and Matt, the Anthrax Norwalk scene would never have lasted all those later years without their scene and shows and big crowds of fans. Right on.
Nice.
Yeah. That's cool. Good stuff. Tom joined second guitar. You record the self-titled 7-inch.
Yeah.
That comes out on Revelation as well. Any memories about that 7-inch and recording with Tom, and a little bit of a metamorphosis for the band at that point? Yeah, tell us about it.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, like Speak Out took quite a while to be released. So there was a sort of a natural progression in the sound, and wanting to see what direction it could go in. Once we got Tom, it just kind of opened up possibilities. Zulu, our original guitar player who was still in the band, is very capable, excellent hardcore guitar player. Tom just sort of brought an element, like not to kind of, but going back through, like I listened to some of the leads that's on the self-titled record. They stand up with Iron Maiden leads, or he's technically really skilled, basically. So we kind of wanted to utilize that. So yeah, there was a conscious kind of departure in terms of the sound, and lyrically, like we kind of moved away from. So that's the thing. It's like, because with the 3 releases, like Crippled Youth is kind of very hardcore. There's some straight edge lyrics. It's 13, 14-year-old kids. Speak Out's a little more of an evolution, where like the only straight edge song on Speak Out is Nail to the X, which was sort of written in the early days. But then like by the time, and again, as you mentioned, like we're talking only about maybe 4 years, but it certainly seemed like more, a lot kind of evolved in that time. So yeah, the EP, we recorded at Baby Monster.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Sure.
So yeah,
that was a pretty big studio at the time.
Yep. We made it, we were like, let's take whatever show money, but let's like invest as much as we can into like, having something that sounds really good. And the only sort of regret I have with that is basically by the time the record came out, Drew, the band was broken up. So we never got to like really play in support of that. So I just wonder what might have been, but
sure,
that's life.
So the record came out in '89, and then before it was out, you guys decided to call it a day.
Yep. So basically, we were all we were all the same age in high school. We were like, all right, some of us go to college, some aren't, but like for whatever reason, we kind of saw like the end. Like, all right, we're not gonna be able to continue. And in retrospect, again, wondering what might have been, but also Drew, our drummer Drew, talking about things in the works. So like maybe February, March of '89, when we're still an active band, Drew comes up to me and he's like, I got to talk to you. And this was, we were at school, so free period or whatever, we went out and in the parking lot, and I just remember it vividly. And he's like, I've been talking to Richie, and we're gonna form a band, and so basically I'm leaving Bold. So that kind of basically was
So the writing was on the wall.
Yes, thank you.
And also I think it's a common evolution for bands when you're in high school, you form a band, you play some shows, and then it's, hey, am I going to go to college? What am I doing?
Yep.
Especially in the 80s and 90s, right? I mean, I know it happened in bands I was in. And you went to college after that. You were looking at you went to college as well, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that makes sense. I know a couple years later, the record was reissued with a couple as a 12-inch with a couple of bonus tracks. Were those bonus tracks recorded in the same recording session? They just couldn't fit on the 7-inch?
Exactly. Totally. Yep.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah. And Revelation is a 12-inch, and that and once again, and we'll talk about it. It was later. Everything was later reissued on a CD. Was that what it was?
I think they did. They put everything on. Yes, I think CD and vinyl. Yeah. So it was like a double record and a CD. Yep. Right.
The Search, right?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. Sure. I want to quote. I was doing some homework, and I want to, and I quote you. I found this really sort of interesting. We're talking about sort of influences and both musically and stylistically. And I quote, "Whether you want to say we co-opted the oncoming hip hop scene and mixed it with existing skinhead trappings, it did lead to what you would now define as youth crew. And in some ways it was conscious, but in other ways it was just what we rocked every day. That's where I sort of drew the line with some of what other people were wearing. I was more inclined to go to Orchard Street or Rivington Street and try to pick up sneakers I saw Rakim wearing in the I Ain't No Joke video than I was to where someone was wearing on a record from England." That's even that I loved about. That's what I loved about bands from the Midwest who just got up on stage and wore flannel shirts, ripped jeans, or bands from California who looked like they just came from shredding a pool or half pipe wearing Vans. Represent who you are and where you come from. I thought that was pretty poignant.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What was that early hip hop stuff? Was it on your radar screen? Was it something that you guys were listening to?
Big time. Like same with hardcore. Like when the newest hip hop records would come out, I used to go to Tower Records. I would listen to BLS every Friday and Saturday night and tape BLS and Kiss, and I was just basically really getting into KRS-One has talked about this in interviews. He's like, when she talked about being on the Sick of It All record, I forget the context of but basically it's like, hardcore is street music and hip hop is street music. So, it's a natural, there's going to be some overlap. So that's, that basically was a big part of my aesthetic and my, my interest at the time.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, and we've said it before too. And this is going a little bit before that. Is that I remember a time when like hip hop and hardcore were sort of both head to head. I mean, hip hop was that, you know, fresh and new. It was way before anything broke out. But hip hop, hardcore, and graffiti were all like super underground genres, man. You know.
Yep.
That kind of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
When Bold took this hiatus, you went to college. When did you take was it a conscious break from music, and how did you come back into it?
Yeah, interesting. You know, like basically, I would say it was the right, like, you know, going to college and maybe, you know, initially, Drew, I would still go to like shows because I was, you know, going to Fordham in the Bronx. I'd take the D train or the 4 train all the way down to Lower Manhattan. I'd still go to shows and blah blah blah. But like by sophomore year, I kind of
you went to Fordham to college.
I did, yes,
Oh, nice.
Fordham. Yep.
Right on.
So yeah,
that's a big campus.
Yeah. No, that great experience there, but yeah. So just kind of like basically focused on school and gradually kind of stopped hanging out, and that's just how it was. But basically missed it. So like by, you know, after graduating college, just missed it and missed playing, and so that's what led me to get back into it, you know.
And what did you get back into it with?
One-Sided War. So
tell us about who was in that and how that came together.
Yep. So really, it's the kind of thing where I was, you know, writing songs and so forth, but wasn't, you know, was keeping up with hardcore, was you know, keeping tabs and buying records, but you know, just wasn't going to shows. And got a phone call randomly, like mid '90s, from Chris Daly, who from Newfoundland, Canada. He's like, I'm moving to New York. I'm a big Bold fan. I want to, you know, possibly start a band. So we got talking. He moved to New York. He met people, and he basically like kind of had the people in place. And I just, you know, we formed the band, did a record fairly quickly. But it, you know, I really liked the One-Sided War record, but just wasn't like, it was kind of hard to kind of step back into. You know, shows weren't happening. So it was kind of short lived, but then it evolved into Running Like Thieves. We put out a couple records.
And you said that when we spoke previously, that Running Like Thieves, in a way, was sort of like a rebranding of One-Sided War. Is that safe to say?
Yes. Yeah.
And our friend Joe Ackerman down in Tallahassee, Florida, says Running Like Thieves is my jammy. Sorry, my comment is out of context. Just had to throw that out there. So, you know, and it's interesting because when I announced that you were coming on the show, I got a couple of messages like, yo, because we didn't put it on the flyer. It was like, you know, Bold, you know, Crippled Youth, and people were like, yo, Running Like Thieves, what's up? You know, and, yeah. Cool. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, Run Like Thieves was two of the members of Super Touch. So, you know, it was.
That was John and Andy, right?
There you go. Yep.
And so a little history of Running Like Thieves. How did that go? What did you guys do?
We put out 2 records, played a bunch of shows. Would have been from like 99 to 2002. We went to Europe. So I had great memories of those, you know, those shows, because I really just got along with everyone, like good personalities and great musicianship. So really, and we throw in like a Super Touch cover, a Bold cover. So really a good experience with Running Like Thieves.
You know, it's interesting you mentioned when the One-Sided War sort of, you know, in retrospect, that was sort of a weird time for hard music. You know, I don't want to necessarily see hardcore, but like those years, there was a couple of years there that were a little a little thin, I will say. And I could say that as a music historian who's made films and written books.
Sure.
There was like those couple of years there, and we always say there's an ebb and a flow to this thing, right? The wave goes in and out, and clubs, it's all cyclical, art. But I'd say, like, and no disrespect to anybody out there that was out there, in the trenches, but 80, 89, 90, some a little bit before that, there was some lean years there before it's sort of the merry-go-round came back around, It's, and then I always look at a big moment. I always look at sort of a big moment in the early 90s is sort of like when Biohazard kind of, in the hardcore thing, when Biohazard just had huge success and then pulled a lot of bands up with it, in its wake. Jeff says Andy and Biv are both amazing musicians and people. Love them both. Definitely. John shows up at all our Bowery matinees, man. He does. He shows up at all the shows.
Yeah, he texted me Saturday because we've been, he was like, I'm going to be at Barrel Electric tomorrow. So yeah,
he was supposed to play with his new band Pembroke. I think this show he broke he broke something. I think he hurt himself, so he had to take kind of a break. What was the Mistaken?
So basically kind of like a recording. We started off as a recording project with Andy from Supertouch, where I kind of miss playing guitar in a band, and like I'm sure most people, I have I listen to a lot of different types of music, as we all do, and wanted to try my hand at something a little more, something other than hardcore, basically. So we did a full-length record, and yeah, it's basically, it's not hardcore, but it has some of the elements, some of the components, and I enjoyed it, and I still like listening to those songs. And we actually played a couple shows, Drew, and it's the kind of thing that could, we could pick up again here and there.
Yeah. Sure. And then when did you, like, how did the call go out, and how did Bold pull it back together? Was the first time, was it 2005 the first time you guys kind of pulled it? Yeah. What was the background? What was the impetus for that to happen?
Yeah. I feel like, CB started doing more hardcore shows or again at that point. So there was like a lot of reunions. I'm trying to think of the first big one that kind of preceded us. But I think Tom called me and he was like, do you want to get the, Bold back together? So I think Tom might have called me, and then I reached out to Tim Brooks. Drew didn't want to play drums or was involved with other things, so he passed on it. So we got Vinny Panza to play drums, who's coming to do
good call.
Yep. So yeah, we picked it back up. We played CBs, and we did a European tour, and then basically pretty steadily from like 2005 to 2019, we would play every few years. So we would, whatever opportunities were available, we would try to play.
I have a clip from that CBGB. Check it out. That's some CBGBs right there. Yeah. You could just that sounds like CBGB. know what was at the beginning of this clip, which I didn't play, is this. Was this just one that like we gotta let Purcell sing this one?
That's exactly
right.
This
is like a Purcell song, right? Yeah. Great. When I come back in the next life, I want to come back with a body like that guy. Like, how the fuck? Damn, man, that guy's in great shape, man. That guy's in great shape. So when you got back in 2005, basically, you sort of like peripherally kept it like if the right thing came up, or like a once a year thing. Because I remember this. Now this is a bunch of years later, but you know, from time to time, things like this would pop up when the Black and Blue 2012 after show, and like you guys would sort of pop up in these situations, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's, how do I put it? Like we would play whenever, like we were open for business. We wanted to play. You know, just so, yeah, I mean, just basically, you know, try to play as much as possible.
Here's the 2012 lineup, right?
That is, yep, indeed, yep.
So Tom wasn't involved on this go round.
Yeah, that for whatever reason. So like Zulu is back with us in Purcell,
right?
And then yeah, so sometimes Tom would be with, sometimes it was Zulu. There was, you know, depending upon scheduling and that kind of thing.
And what else I got? Do I have one more? Oh, this is so and this is you guys. You did 2019. You guys went and did Europe, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And because I remember, you know, this is, I think we played with Tom right after this. Did some stuff with Tom and him telling us about it and said it went well.
It did, like, and that, you know, so basically the shows were really well received. I thought we sounded better than ever, but then, you know, like everything's changed, so everything's kind of up in the air. But yeah, I mean, that wasn't that long ago. Thought the shows were great, so we shall see.
Did you guys went over as a 4-piece in 2019?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, if you're gonna have one guitar player, having Tom is a good call. He's, you know, this looks, for some reason, this looks strangely familiar to me, this place. It's like, you know,
I know the feeling.
Yeah, you know, like
been here before. Yep.
You know, yeah, it looks like that's the place in, like, you know, Stuttgart. Like that looks strangely familiar to me. You know, that kind of thing. So, are you guys sort of what does Courtney say? 2019 was the lastly show I saw. SL11 Avengers. Not sure what he's referring to. Are you guys, like you said, open for business? Like if there was an offer or something came along, you know, these days?
I don't see any reason why not.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. All right. The challenge is in the air. Yeah. You know, get ready. Get ready to gear up.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. Are you happy with the I know it coincided with the 2005 with the 32 tracks at Revelation released. You know, I really took a deep dive into that, and it's of course it's really it's intricate. It's got everything. It's got, you know, the comp tracks. It's got a track that was never released. That's really the whole workload, right?
Yes. Yeah, I thought they did a really good job. I like the liner notes. So if someone is looking for, you know, the whole basically what the band is. That's
Sure.
that's it.
That's the
It's a good place
that's
to
the
start.
the summary, right?
Summary.
Good stuff. Hey, let me take my last sponsor break,
Yep.
and we'll come back and we'll take some questions from around the world. Okay?
Sounds good.
Here we go. That's right. It's the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. Our guest today is Matt from Bold and Crippled Youth and Running Like Thieves and a lot more. We are sponsored by New York Hardcore, the Organic Grill, the Texas Silver Rush, Generation Records, 126 Hardcore Clothing, Grunge and Grime Soap Company, and DTFM Vinyl Distro. Looking for more extreme music? DTFM Vinyl Distro has got you. Located on 13th Ave in freezing cold Fargo, North Dakota, we have the state's best selection of punk, hardcore metal, ska, oi, and more. Can't make it in? Shop online from anywhere in the country at www.dtfmvinyldistro.com. DTFM Vinyl Distro, where the policy still is, will, and always will be death to false metal. Come on now, Grunge and Grime Soap Company. They're a handmade soap and skincare company with a rock and roll spirit based in Nashville, Tennessee. They combine their love for rock music and their love for creating products that are good for your skin and good for your soul. Since 2019, they've been creating high-quality, natural, handmade soaps and skincare products with ethically sourced and sustainable ingredients. They give 10% of their net proceeds to local and community outreach programs. Visit the website at www.grungeandgrime.com and enter the code DREW to get 20% off your first order. Hey, I want to mention, especially to our Florida friends out there, I am coming down to Florida. I got a couple screenings of my new film. Joe Ackerman, I'm talking to you, bro. I am down there on January 8th, screening in Sarasota, Florida. The Jews and the Blues is screening at Sarasota, Florida, at Temple Emmanuel. I know I just spoke to Gary from Propane and from Crumbsuckers. He's going to be there. But Florida people, if you are down in that area, I will be down on January 8th. And also, the film is the closing. It is the closing film for the Palm Beach Film Festival. That is happening February 11th. And by the way, I'll be doing a Q&A, a post-screening Q&A for both of these. Yes. Yeah, come for the movie, stay for the shuffleboard. That's right. Saturday, February 11th, down in closing film, down in West Palm Beach. So if anybody's down there in Florida, love to see you. My new film is eventually will make it to a, probably Amazon or Netflix or something like that. So that will be happening. Let's see. What else? What else do I need to mention? Oh, how could I forget? I know you're sitting there going, God damn, I love this show and I want to support it. Funny you should ask. There is a Patreon page. There it is. The holidays are coming up. Need your support to continue making magic with the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. There's a PayPal address there, stone4124 at AOL. Please make a contribution to support the show. We could always, we need your patronage on Patreon. By the way, for all patrons out there, I want to thank a couple new ones. Anthony Mio, original Biohazard drummer, Mike Reed, Susan Anton, Sam C., and Frankie Tires 13. I am doing some interviews, actually, for the new book. Those end up on Patreon. I'm doing Sal from Sworn Enemy, Walter Schreifels, and Danny Schuler from Biohazard. So those will be on the site probably in the next couple days, the next week or so. So check that out. Please support the show. What can I say? Hey, what can I say? Support the show. I mentioned the Joe Strummers. I mentioned the Joe Strummer benefit tomorrow at the A7. Film screenings, Barry Electric shows, Brooklyn Bowl, December 29th, ID's playing with Go-Go Bordello is going to be a banger, and so on and so forth. That said, let me clear the deck. Who is sending me messages? Hold on. Okay. That said, let's bring our guest back on the show. Hey, man.
Yep.
And let me clear the deck, and let's chop it up. Oh, okay. Here's an interesting one from Mark Wiener. I know I joined late, so if this has been answered, I'm sorry. But what happened to the new bold material that was recorded, I believe, for Livewire Records at the time?
So, Mark, it's still in existence. It really, we weren't crazy about it. So basically, it's never going to see the light of day. So yeah, it's just weren't thrilled with how it came out.
I guess that makes sense, right? If it's not up to snuff, do yourself and the world a favor and don't let it out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. How many songs?
I think we did like 3, and this was recorded. If we're talking about the same thing, we're talking like 2006. So if we did something, well, anyway, so it just we just knew like it. Yeah, so we let it be.
Yeah, listen, I've been there. It's you want to make a good solid statement, man, and also you have a certain the bar is raised pretty high with Bold, and you have a legacy. So RS70 resident graffiti historian asks, did you ever get into BMX skating or graffiti?
Not BM. Well, as a how old was I? When I was 12, I had a Huffy Pro Thunder 4. Had a skated. We all skated like in Katona. We had a hat. I wasn't particularly good, but like Capo was a really good skater. Purcell was pretty good. And graffiti, I mean, a little bit. My handwriting is somewhat in that style, but never like actually painting trains or anything like that.
Yeah.
Bombing trains.
Sure. Ray Hogan, Connecticut denizen, representing Stanford. Strangest bill Bold ever appeared on? Good question.
Oh, yeah, let's think about that. We had the good fortune of really pretty much always playing pretty good shows with bands that are like similar. So that's actually all right. What would be the strangest bill we ever played on?
I just saw it. Yeah, as you do that, I got to look. I found a real strange one. You go on.
Yeah. It would have had to be from like the early. I can't think of any. Like there's, every show was either with, it's never like we played with different stuff. No. So basically, I don't have an answer. I can't think of anything.
I was just looking for a flyer for when I was in Antidote. We played with. I gotta find this. It's worth a laugh. Hold on. Find it. Oh, is this it? Yeah. So, listen, Antidote. We kind of, we sort of zigged at a certain point, and we were doing like a rock thing, pretty rock, very far removed from some of the hardcore stuff. But I came across this flyer the other day, and we were on a bill here at the Ritz, at the old Studio 54 Ritz, with Blues Traveler, Trickster, with Blues Traveler and Trickster. We were on the bill. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, it was fucking weird.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, we found ourselves in Seward. I saw doing my homework. I saw that one interview asked you a couple of records that like really influenced you, and you said two of the big influences was the Abused record
Mm-hmm.
and the Antidote Thou Shalt Not Kill record.
Yes. Oh yeah. I mean, I was, AF Victim in Pain, United Blood, Antidote, the Abused, Cause for Alarm, 7-inch. But yeah, I mean,
yeah, the Antidote 7-inch was a game changer.
And it's interesting. I was talking to Mark Ryan a couple weeks ago. We hung out, and because I never, it was before my time, I never saw the Abused, but he was like, the Abused were kind of like, you knew they were like serious, like live. They just had that kind of like major kind of presence and sound and
This is good question, Chucky. Chucky Brown, one of our resident historians, asks, can he speak on the quote fake bold reunion show in the summer of '96? I believe at the New Milford Teen Center.
Yeah. We basically, so before we were One Side of War, this is I was alluding to where Chris from Newfoundland called. So we started a band, and before we were One Side of War, we were called Endure, Endure. So Endure, and we did a demo and played that show in New Milford. I think that was the first live show, first time we played live, and we played with Lady Luck, which was Roger's band at the time.
He played bass in that band.
That's right.
He played bass, and that was his wife at the time. Yeah. Who was the bartender at Wetlands. Yeah.
There you go. So yeah, like to my knowledge, it was just like, all right, Indoors playing, and then like I think we saw the flyer and it was like I didn't agree to, but like so I think the promoter basically took it upon himself to put bold on the flyer, but that was not our intention. It was kind of like
that's a bold move. That's a bold move for a fucking promoter to take that liberty.
You could say that,
yeah. Oof. So that was just something that was sort of thrust upon you.
Yeah. It was a memorable show, but it was, it was kind of a funny way that it came to be.
Yeah, that's kind of a drag. Chico, I didn't bookmark your question, bro. So do me a favor and put it back in the chat room. Also, if there's a super chat function, if anybody wants to do a super chat thing, it comes in color and I can't miss it. I miss things once in a while. Nick Black Sabbath says, hey, Matt, have you and Biv ever discussed playing on the same bill, Bold and Pembroke? I think that would make for a great show. Just saying.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. I mean, why not?
Eric Johnson asks, how did the Bay Area scene treat you when you played 924 Gilman Street?
Good one. I think it was 89. It was either 88 or 89. And I forget all the details, but basically I remember being upstairs maybe. And like you could kind of look down on the stage and something happened where a fight broke out and someone might've pulled a knife. And I just remember our roadie, Howie, who was in Alone in the Crowd, he like grabbed a cymbal stand and like hit the guy with the knife. So that was a crazy show. It was after we played, but it was definitely kind of like something was going on. I don't recall like what started the fight, but yeah, it was just like next thing I know, Howie's hitting someone with a cymbal stand.
Good Lord. I'm not sure how to decipher this. Brian Macko asks, how about the time Running Late Fees played with My Chemical Romance? Do you remember that, Matt? Garfield, New Jersey? Yeah, I'm not sure I don't understand what that is. I
mean, I remember Running Like Thieves playing Garfield, New Jersey. I mean, I don't remember playing with them, but that would answer the first question. What was it? Well, not bold, but that's a pretty strange bill right there.
Dan Darella, original guitar player for Underdog. Yo, ask him about the basement party they played when the New York punks came to the suburbs. Them and Youth of Today were supposed to play. Well, why would he remember it if he didn't play?
We actually did play, but like that was one where Zulu, No, Tim couldn't make it. So Zulu played bass, I played guitar. So we were a 3-piece, but it was in, like a basement in Rockland County, I think. It might have been, I forget, but yeah, it was like the Geek Attack party, because there was this band Geek Attack before, like there's contemporaries of like the Numbskulls, became Underdog. So yeah, we did play. Youth Today did not play, but I do remember that. That was that was a good one. Like Big Charlie was there. Yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah. Jeff says, of course, boy, this Jeff is like an encyclopedia when it comes to Bold. He says, August 5th, 1989, Gilman Street, Berkeley, Bold, Supertouch, Judge, and Up Front. Wow, that's a lineup, man. Yeah. I don't understand this. Can he explain the answer phone message that appeared on Slapshot's Sudden Death record?
Yeah.
Is that just some like typical kind of choke antagonizing shit?
I mean, I talk about it in, I think, the Straight Edge book, but like Slapshot and Youth of Today, and both, like Slapshot there was definitely like a time when everything was cool between us, and then like basically, long story short, we played CBs, was Youth of Today, Slapshot, Bold, and maybe GB played too, but Crippled Youth record was out, Slapshot Back on the Map was out, and Ray basically whoever he talked to, like, had us play over Slapshot, and they didn't appreciate that. They thought they were bigger. It was CBs, and it was like, the Crippled Youth records sold pretty well. They're pretty big here, but they got bent out of shape, and that kind of precipitated this message, which I don't think I've even ever heard, but I've heard about it. But yeah.
Yeah. Stuff like that, man, isn't worth giving any credence to. That's sort of like how I operate, man. Just crap like that. Who cares, man?
It's a long, in those guys' defense, it was a long time ago, but yeah, back then, all those, we'd all get worked up about minor things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting, when I hear about stuff like that coming from sort of some of these camps, because I was around in Boston in the early, for the very beginning of that, part of that whole SSD control crew and everything, and being there at ground zero, and then sort of seeing how it sort of spread out and all that. Sort of some of it, ended up a little cringeworthy, but that's how it is. And in hardcore, man, if you don't have the wherewithal, and you really have to be able to kind of take it a little bit. It's an interesting genre. It's an interesting genre where, like, there is a contingent that does not want to see you be successful, and it's an interesting sort of dichotomy in hardcore. I always think of hardcore in a lot of ways. For a lot of people, it was a gateway to sort of other things, but a lot of people pass through hardcore. Whether you're sort of like the Jay Mascis, the Dinosaur Jr., or Moby, or Duff from Guns N' Roses, and then there's sort of the contingent that stays in the cesspool of hardcore, like myself. But that's yeah, of course. 30 years ago, it's all in the past, but it's sometimes interesting, funny to hear. Yes, absolutely. Yes, hardcore is a gateway drug. Absolutely. Bold should play the Sawmill Tavern. We're working on it. That said, what else? Do you remember when you played Salt Lake City? Was it 88 or 89?
89. Yeah.
Wow.
And I remember that show because we did the sound check or whatever, and then went, back wherever. I think the van was like parked in like a garage connected to the club. And I remember sound check and then going backstage and someone coming up to me and be like, "Oh, you guys are playing or whatever." I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Oh, that's too bad." So it was just like someone was like fucking with us. So it wasn't a particularly like welcoming show, but that's funny that that's the one thing I remember is guys like, "Oh, just trying to be antagonistic, basically."
It must have been, must have been tough because I mean, we just watched this clip before of that band in Salt Lake City, and it looked like it was, incredible, bunch of kids having a great time.
Yeah.
It's wasn't always like that. It wasn't always like that. Courtney, 2014, This Is Hardcore Fest in Philly was good times. That's a great show to play.
Yes, definitely.
And big props to Joe Hardcore, who we've had on the show, who really puts in a lot of, man, that guy really does puts in a lot. Any new bands you're following or checking out? Anything on your radar screen?
I mean, basically, this is Turnstiles. Really good band that a lot of people, mention. Beyond that, I would like to check out more stuff. So if you have any recommendations, Drew, but I have to say I need to do a little more looking into, basically, because sure there's a ton of great bands out there.
Yeah, it's sort of hard to get connected. Oh, this is a good one. What the fuck would you do? What the fuck would y'all do for hours in a van on tour with no cell phones? That's a good one, actually.
Yeah, tell like war stories, basically.
Right?
It's like, this. So that was, not to get on like a tangent, but that's what's missing from young people these days. They're just like connected, like, and they don't like where I work. I shouldn't say, but like, when you try to talk to us, it's like, they're just, so anyway, like I had the benefit. I'm glad I was born when I did, and grew up without cell phones because I mean, you had to have learn the ability to communicate and so, but that's
and really interact with your bandmates,
right?
Shit, I remember that. Ray Hogan asked, do you listen to any jazz or blues?
I don't typically listen to jazz, but like blues, Albert Collins is a favorite of mine as far as guitar player, great guitar player. Stevie Ray Vaughan. I mean, the blues, I love the blues. That's obviously the basis of rock and roll. And a lot of people might, but big on like country lately, like 70s country, like George Jones, Merle Haggard.
Wow. Come on now.
Waylon Jennings.
I'm recommending
it to anybody. Like modern country, like horrible, but Willie Nelson, like all that stuff from the set, that's excellent stuff there.
That 70s stuff, like the George Jones stuff and all that, so much of that stuff. Yeah. Dolly Parton.
Nice. Yeah.
I like Dolly Parton.
Sure.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Great. She's a song, like excellent song. She wrote, she's actually was a songwriter before she became famous as a singer.
That's right.
That's
right. Were you listening to the group called The National when you and Andy were doing The Mistake? I hear a lot of that in the music.
Oh yeah. Good call, Brian. Good call.
Really?
Yeah. Like I was, I don't know if Andy was.
That's very perceptive.
Yeah, no, really. Like and in fact, The Mistaken, I took it from, not took it, but maybe just, they have a song called Mistaken for Strangers. And I think I might've been like, oh, just how you think of a name. I saw the name. And I was like, so yeah, good call.
Yeah, that's good. Yes, Conway. Yes, Conway Twitty. Yes, David Allen Coe. Yes, Buck Owens.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, that's good. That's good stuff, man. Well, yeah. All right. Well, hey, that was great, man. I want to thank you for coming on the show. It was nice chopping it up with you. Anybody you want to shout out or thank or anything?
Well, Drew, first I want to say thank you for having me. Really great experience. Great interviewer, and thank you for being a great host and for doing this show and for everything you do. I'm not just saying that to make you feel good. It's commendable. So thank you.
Thank you. And hey, on a side note, your wife is a little involved with the new book I'm doing.
So I hear.
Yeah, she gave me some great perspective. And as a matter of fact, tomorrow or Friday, I have a video chat with Walter, and he's going to give me his perspective on some of those shows that your wife was so instrumental. Those Amnesty International shows, that your wife was so instrumental in setting up. There were so many of those bills. Those bills are amazing.
Yeah.
You know?
No, for real. So yeah, thank you. No, Rory's great. She was happy to be a part of it. So
yeah, we'll hear what Wally has to say. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Definitely.
All right. Well, thank you, man. Let's keep in touch.
Definitely. Thanks a lot, Drew.
All right. Bye-bye. Have a good night.
Yep. Be good.
Well, there you have it. Another New York Hardcore Chronicles Live comes to a close with Matt from Bold and Crippled Youth. Good show. Cool stuff. Thanks for tuning in. Of course, next up is this Sunday is the holiday episode. We're going to march a lot of people through the show. So we're going to have sponsors. We're going to have special guests this Sunday. Thank you, Drew. I appreciate it, brother. I really do. You were in on this one, brother Drew. Gary, thank you, and Courtney and Ack. Hey, Ack, how far is Tallahassee from Sarasota? Anybody? Somebody look that up, will you? Somebody. Yeah, I'm not letting this dude off the hook. How far is Tallahassee, Florida, from Sarasota, Florida? Look that up, will you? Thanks, Chucky. Good to see you again, man. Yeah. Keep Siri out of it, will you? Ozzy from the High and the Mighty. Thanks, bro. Yes, I do. I just keep fucking it up. It's Warnke. Yeah, it was a good one, man. And then also after the holiday show is Furia 5. 4.5 hours, that far? Oof. That's kind of a lot. You might be off the hook, Ack, to come to my screening in Sarasota. You might be off the hook. That's kind of far. Yeah. Oh, he said it was 5 hours? Yeah, all right. You're off the hook, bro. Always great listening while at my gallery. Lots of customers stand and listen at my sales counter. Yeah. Oh, good. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks, Robert. Appreciate it. And all the best to you and your family out there. Yeah, Florida's is a long state. It's a weird state. By the way, we're working on the 250th show. Got to have a banger for 250. I'm working on some bangers for 250. Thank you. Yeah, I'll probably do. I'll do Guns of Brixton when they kick down your front door. How you gonna with your hands on your head or on the trigger of your gun? You know who sings Guns of Brixton? I mean, this is common knowledge, but Guns of Brixton is not sung by Joe Strummer or Mick Jones. No, not Billy Joel. Yeah, I know. 250 will be great. Don't worry. Yes, Nick Black Sabbath. Great show. Great to hear from Matt. Hope to hear more of his music. Yeah. Now that we have a little rapport going, I might have to, get on his case about playing one of these Bowery Electric shows. We'll see. Group chat with the Misfits for I wish, man. Misfits ain't coming on this show. That ain't happening. Paul Simonon, yes. Yep. Paul Simonon sang it. Yep. Joe made Paul sing it when he gave the lyrics. Yeah, true. Happy holidays to you too, Johnny. Hear me calling Johnny Rock. Hear me calling Johnny Rock. Yep. That's what's up. All right. I think we did our bit. Is there anything that I'm... Yes, Paul Simonon sings it. I will be singing it tomorrow at the Joe Strummer Gates for the... I've done a couple of these, man. Jerry only won't. No. We don't need to get into the Misfits politics, but No. We've had people that were in the Misfits on the show. We had Bobby Steele on the show. He was in the Misfits. Who else? We have Michael Graves on the show. He was in the Misfits, right? Trying to track down Arthur Googie. I'd love to get Arthur Googie on the show. You know, that would be great, man. That said, that's right. We had Eric Arce on the show. So we've had plenty of people that were in the Misfits at one time or the other. No, Doyle won't. No, Doyle won't. I talked to Doyle. Doyle won't. Doyle, and I respect that. He doesn't want to put the makeup on. It's a whole process. And he doesn't really have a lot to say. Doyle doesn't really, Doyle's not the kind of guy that's going to come out. Tell us about the time that, Doyle don't give a fuck. Doyle don't give a fuck to come and talk about, like, 1982 when you farted at the so-and-so ballroom. Like, yeah, right on. Respect to everyone that does the show with no publicists. Right on. I hear you on that one. Yes. Oi, oi. Oi, brother. That's it. Yep. Yeah, Dave Lombardo would be good. I'm telling you, we got a couple things cooking for 250. Hopefully one of them are gonna come through. I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to jinx anything. We can't have that. But Fury of 5, Rob Moss, Paul LaFada, Brian Harris, Vinny Vitale. Yeah, I got to book a couple shows. I'll do that tomorrow. We'll book a couple more shows. That said, I think we've come to the end of the line, my friends. Thank you for everything. I hope to see you this Sunday for the holiday show. Thank you to the women of the pit, Gina and Lori that came on. And thank you for supporting the show. I can't, what can I say? This show makes my nose itch. You don't know until you come on the show. For some reason, when you come on the show, your nose starts itching. It's the weirdest thing. Hey, do good things, and good things will come to you.